Okay, let's move on to our next question, which is from Rick in West Virginia. Looks like the plan was for Blackrock to buy what is left of Ukraine and let Exxon and whoever else steal the resources for American corporations. But I guess that was based on Ukraine winning the war. Would Russia allow that? Wouldn't that just extend the war?
Let me put it this way. The Ukrainian government is not going to exist when this war is done. And the Russian government will have the ability to, they don't have to assume any of the debts. They don't have to assume any of the contracts. They can literally say you signed the contract with an illegitimate government that no longer exists, and it's null and void. We're doing what? I can guarantee you that BlackRock won't own a damn thing in Ukraine that's under the control of the Russians when this is all said and done. Russia's not playing that game. Russia would never sell its soil to outside people like that. Not Putin's Russia. Maybe Yeltsin Russia would have. Putin's Russia won't. And Maverick will not let it happen. Maverick is standing tall, saying no. Right, Maverick? You're security. You're supposed to take care of me.
Does Maverick sense that he's going to be without Papa for a month? Do you think?
Yeah, I was packing the bag, and he's all hanging around going, why are you doing that, boss?
Looking at you with the sad face?
Yeah, it's breaking my heart. I don't want to look at him too much because I might not go, but I'm going. But I'll miss him. My wife's like, I look at you with puppy dog eyes too. And I'm like, yeah, we married 31 years, so I'm used to leaving you for months at a time. But poor Maverick. Oh my God.
That's an interesting distinction. Thank you, Linda McGregor, for the donation. We appreciate that. Sergey from Vladivostok. When the balloon in the form of Bakhmut bursts and Ukraine's defense begins to crumble, won't this provoke some NATO countries to enter the conflict? Because the beginning of the special military operation was soft, and this will be fast and hard.
Good question, Sergey, but I don't believe NATO as an institution is going to enter this conflict because they understand what the consequences of that are. Also understand that NATO is a consensus-driven organization, and I think it would be very hard to get a consensus for NATO to carry out Article 4 offensive operations in Ukraine. Virtually impossible for that to happen. The bigger risk is Ukraine and Poland entering some sort of union. There's a lot of talk about this, about how the border between West Ukraine and Poland is going to magically disappear. They're going to become sort of political and economic union. There's even talk about the Baltic states joining in on this union to make some sort of grand confederation that provides security guarantees for Ukraine, which would in effect put the Baltics and Poland at war with Russia. Now, I don't know how the Baltics and Poland think they're going to pull this off, or even if they have the guts to pull it off, but this is the direction that could be heading. I would hope that NATO would inform the Poles that there will be no Article 5 protections extended to you when you do this, just like when the Turks invaded Syria and got tangled up with the Russians. Turkey doesn't get to go, oh my God, an attack against me is an attack against all. NATO went, nah, you sort of did that one on your own. You're by yourself. And that's what would happen with Poland. But, Poland has been infected with the Ukraine syndrome. The Ukraine syndrome is what happens when a very, insignificant country, I mean, there's some significance. Ukraine, I don't mean to be too mean to it, but it's corrupt. It doesn't do much. And suddenly we've turned them into the greatest nation on the planet. Zelensky became not just the modern day manifestation of Winston Churchill, but he is the greatest politician that ever lived. I mean, come on. Nancy Pelosi said so. His speech to the U.S. Congress was the greatest speech ever given in the history of the U.S. Congress, according to Nancy Pelosi. So Zelensky thinks that the world revolves around him. And now that the world's collapsing in on him, the Poles are taking over. They've taken that baton. And the Poles are sitting there going, the world revolves around us. We're going to rewrite all global history so that everybody thinks that Poland is the center of the universe and all Europe should do what Poland wants because Poland has deemed it so. No, Poland, you will be abandoned just like the Ukrainians because you are as insignificant as the Ukrainians. You're a middle-sized, pathetic little country that's punching way above your weight. Yeah, hit the ground running. You're right, Knightley. Look, Marine, English, brain, sometimes it doesn't work.
That's the guy with the Bob Dylan.
I know. That's why I answered him, because I bow to Bob Dylan.
All right, let's do one more question from the ones that have been submitted in advance, and then take some live questions. Lux de Calor from Zaragoza. Why exactly did Germany shut down all its nuclear power plants? I apologize for the inappropriate apostrophe in its. There should be no apostrophe there.
That's why I can't answer the question, Jeff, because I don't understand. Are you saying it's or it is? I mean, is this possessive or is this plural? Oh, Jeff, you confuse me. No, I apologize. I'm having too much fun right now. I apologize. I'll get serious. Well, because Germany is, they've bought into the green concept, and they've ironically, I mean, if you do nuclear power right, it's has the potential to be some of the cleanest energy out there. But Chernobyl showed how you can do it wrong. 3 Mile Island showed how you could do it wrong. There's many examples of nuclear power being done wrong, and then no matter how you do it, there's going to be nuclear waste that has to be disposed of, and that's a problem. But in terms of generating a lot of electricity and minimizing the carbon footprint, it's sort of a big deal. But the Germans have decided no nukes. They don't want them. They're going to close them down. This was a plan that's been a long time in the making, and they're doing it despite the fact that, I mean, here's the stupidity of Germany. I guess I have to say it. I have to call you stupid, Germany. You care about your greenhouse emissions. Yay. So you're going to close down the nuclear power plants that have minimal greenhouse emissions. You built a whole bunch of wind farms. In fact, you built one over a coal pit because you said, we're never using coal powered things again. Why? We have an infinite supply of cheap Russian gas. Not anymore. So Russian gas is gone. You can't afford the expensive stuff coming from the United States, so you got to you're opening up your coal plants. You're shutting down 3 nuclear plants, but you're going to open up your coal plants because the nuclear plants need to be shut down to meet with your carbon footprint. But you're going to triple your carbon footprint by opening up a coal plant. And here's the genius of the Germans: they had to tear down those wind farms and shred them up to get access to the coal they need for their coal plants. Germany's just run by idiots. Never elect the Green Party into a position of power ever again. Because A, they're not green. They just proved it. Okay, it's a name only. They're morons. B, they don't believe in peace. The Green Party is the one that's gotten Germany neck deep in the Ukraine conflict, supporting Nazis, by the way, so they don't believe in history. The Green Party should be outlawed. I don't mean that from a legal standpoint, but I just think that every German that wakes up in the morning, the first thought that should go through their head, besides we hate Nazis, is we hate the Green Party, because the Green Party is empowering the Nazis. And they're stupid about being the Green Party. I mean, they're supposed to be about the ecology. And I mean, where's Greta when you need her? How dare you? That's where we need her now. We need Greta right now to look at the Germans and say, how dare you?
Unfortunately, Greta is on the computer I have that's in the shop. Oh, sorry about that. Let's just stop that. I'm glad you clarified that you didn't mean that literally, outlawing it. For a second there, I thought you sound like AOC. Yeah, or well, did he say outlaw it though? I was more thinking of AOC. She said a few days ago that the government should ban Fox News because it's a broadcast outlet, and it's not even a broadcast channel. So she was not only censorial, but ignorant. All right. Lest I go on too long and take time away from our audience, let's get to the questions coming in live from our beloved audience, with Kevin Michelizzi curating them. Katerina, thanks for the donation. Could you send a book to the UK? Thanks in advance. While Scott is in Russia, I'm going to work on setting up a way so that we can do it worldwide.
And Scott will order even more books to make sure I don't run out of them.
Right. Rockabilly, thanks a lot for the donation. Are the neocon ideology the continuation of what was in Germany in the 30s and 40s?
Actually not. Gosh. I've been so focused on Russia lately that I've purged my mind of the George W. Bush era neocon studies. But neocons are actually, they come from Trotskyists, actually communists. The the original neocons were Trotskyists, and basically they matured into the current right-wing neocon group. But they're actually, their roots come from the other side of the political spectrum of what was going on, of fascism. They come from the Trotskyite wing. We hate the Green Party. Tony Soprano. That doesn't sound like a German name, though. You sound like a guy that's from New Jersey, but that's okay.
We may need to see his birth certificate to confirm his identity.
Now, again, people are going to probably, I probably got this all wrong, Jeff, and now people are going to be sending us hate mail going, Scott, you're wrong. You're wrong about that. I could be wrong because I admitted up front that I'm digging deep into a brain that is insufficient, and because I've been focusing on Russia, trying to calculate casualties and all this kind of garbage. And so
that's what my brain once in a while, the weapons inspector is wrong. Once in a while. By the way, I'm not sure I agree with you about whether or not Alex Jones crossed the line into defamation. I'm totally.
No, I didn't say. I said what I said is the courts. I read the case. Alex Jones failed to provide material at a certain phase of the court process, and so the judge defaulted judgment against him, bypassing the part of the trial where they determined whether or not defamation took place. So
okay. I thought you were opining that it wasn't really.
No, I was saying that we never got to ask that. They just jumped over and just said, we're assuming that it's defamation, and they never went through the actual discovery of, was this defamation?
I'm glad we got that clarified. That saved us a